It's been over 80 days since MrBeast got hit with multiple allegations such as faking videos, rigging contests, psychological torture, providing an unsafe work environment, and protecting people who have been inappropriate with minors, just to name a few. But the one thing that has not happened in the last 80 days is a response from MrBeast regarding those allegations. And I'm here to explain why I think MrBeast is never going to respond, and it's all because of these two people, Dogpack404 and Rosanna Pansino. Now, if you're confused because these are the two people that are dropping the most evidence against MrBeast, let me explain, because you are correct. Dogpack404 has been dropping a lot of information about MrBeast with his ongoing series that currently has 3 videos. Rosanna Pansino experienced firsthand how MrBeast fakes his videos and has been on the forefront of exposing information about the behind-the-scenes conditions that have been taking place on the set of Beast games. But while they've been dropping some credible bombshells, they've also been muddying the waters with completely useless information that only serves to distract from the major issues. That's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, and explain how every time they do this, they only make MrBeast look better and make themselves look worse. I have to start off with talking about Dogpack404, because if you're new to my channel, it's possible that you haven't seen the deep dive that I did involving his first video, where I talked about the truths and the lies that he made. I highly recommend you go watch that video later, because I talk about a whole bunch of issues that I had with his reporting, and I just don't want to repeat them in this video. But let me give you my initial thoughts on Dogpack. I get the vibe that when he sees information that is somewhat believable or can be loosely tied to a point he's making, he runs with it instead of doing the hard research into fact-checking. As I mentioned before, you can watch my other video that shows plenty of instances where Dogpack didn't do enough research or just flat out made assumptions. A good example of this would be when he shouts out a video by Upper Echelon that claims some of MrBeast's videos are illegal because he blatantly rigged them.
Upper Echelon posted a whole video almost exclusively about this claim, and he goes into like case law about how he blatantly rigged the results of a challenge and how that could be illegal.
But the claims in that video and Dogpack's original video have partially, if not fully, been proven wrong by Legal Eagle, who is an actual lawyer.
Which deceived the audience, fulfilling basically every single part of this law at one time or another, from what I can tell, in my opinion, to the very letter.
Yeah, that's just wrong. The law does not apply to satellite radio, the internet, or cable.
To be fair to Dogpack, he's not a lawyer, and I think anybody that is not a lawyer would be confused by the law. This is one of the reasons why I chose not to cover that part of his video in my deep dive. Something that I find crazy about Dogpack is that he knows he's being fed a lot of false information. This is something he discussed in an interview with The Asher Show.
But after that video, I got hundreds of DMs, and not all of them were real. Like, probably 30% of them were either trolls or, you know, possibly Jimmy's crisis management team trying to muddy the waters.
So hearing that he's aware of the misinformation floating around, I find it crazy that he's not more diligent with the information that he releases. And he continues to do this in that same video when he talks about rumors that he's heard.
And then, yeah, I mean, there's certainly rumors of, you know, him doing abusive things with his domestic partners. I mean, his girlfriend's like half his age. He apparently keeps her on a monthly allowance.
Let's be real. When it comes to YouTubers, they love discussing rumors because it brings in the views. I've done it, a bunch of commentary channels have done it, but Dogpack is no longer playing the little YouTuber game. This guy has national media looking into what he posts, so what he says matters. So you can't just run around with this whole rumors thing, because anybody can start those. I can sit here right now and tell you that I heard Dogpack likes to fart on his sandwiches before he eats them, but unless I got proof to show you, that information is useless. In that clip, he says that there are rumors that James Warren has abused his domestic partners, and even mentions that his girlfriend is half his age and that she's on a monthly allowance. Why does that information matter? Unless she's underage, that information is pointless, because there are plenty of women in this world that date men twice their age to live a certain lifestyle. The only important information is the abuse, and if you don't have evidence of that, don't mention it. It also doesn't help that Dogpack already had to issue a correction on spreading misinformation with his last video that talked about James Warren. because a joke within the MrBeast company was passed around as one of these rumors. So Dogpack is only hurting his own credibility by shooting from the hip so much instead of taking the time to vet and verify the information that he releases. But let me tell you what I think is the biggest mistake that Dogpack has made when it comes to reporting about MrBeast, and that came in his third video where he said he was going to withhold information just in case MrBeast responded and it was bad.
I do have sort of that bigger project, the original part 3, and I have a lot of other interviews and other allegations that I'm working on putting together, so I have something for when MrBeast responds. If his response is bad, then I can sort of point out, hey, he lied here and he deflected and straw man argument or whatever, as well as like dropping new allegations and doing it in an opportune way so that they get the most eyeballs.
When I first saw that video, I instantly facepalmed because I thought it was so stupid. We have gotten confirmation through a third party that MrBeast is going to respond when all the information comes out.
I called him and I said 2 things. 1, when are you going to reply? And he echoed what was said in the Dogpack video, which is when everything comes out, he's going to make 1 reply as opposed to a reply after every single video. So we'll see when that happens.
Dogpack literally gave MrBeast an excuse not to respond here because he said that he's withholding information. That's like telling the opposing team your next play. If your goal was to make him look dumb, you say nothing, let him respond, and then you drop the information. But now MrBeast could just be like, well, I'm still waiting on the information to drop. I should point out that Dogpack's third video was uploaded on August 28th, and we are currently in October still waiting for MrBeast to respond. And at the time of this recording, MrBeast has blocked Dogpack on Twitter and just released another YouTube video, which kind of makes me think that he knows he doesn't need to respond, especially if Dogpack and Rosanna are going to keep dropping irrelevant information about him. But now let's talk about Rosanna Pansino, someone who lived through one of MrBeast's fake videos, spoke out against it, and now gets sent a whole lot of information involving MrBeast. From my understanding, Rosanna is speaking out on these issues because she doesn't want other people to have to go through what she went through, which is something I can totally respect, and I was cool with everything she was saying until she made this video, because it has to be one of the cringiest videos I've ever seen when it comes to trying to expose someone. Rosanna treats this video like any other YouTube video by doing quirky things and having bad jokes about tea.
So now I'm going to be baking and serving tea, and today it's piping.
I'd like to remind everybody that there are serious allegations against MrBeast, such as covering up SA and hiring people that have criminal past with minors. Color me crazy, but I just don't think that those kind of videos should have fun moments in them. I don't care how wholesome Rosanna Pansino has been in the past, these kind of topics need to be taken seriously. And I should point out, this same video actually has a moment where Rosanna low-key compares MrBeast to Epstein, Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and P. Diddy. 4 of the worst people that have been exposed in the last decade, and she has moments like this in her video.
I love it.
You get it, like rough, because it's like rough, but also like
It's
they
like
say
a dog.
rough. Yeah.
Like rough, woof, woof.
I don't know about you, but I think if you want people to take you seriously when trying to expose information about another person, maybe don't do anything silly in the video.
Rough, woof, woof.
So let's break down Rosanna's video because it has 3 subjects that involve MrBeast: gambling, possible crypto schemes, and deceiving philanthropy. And I'll tell you right now, I think one of these is really important. One could be important, but I don't think people are gonna care, and one is complete bullshit. I'll explain which is which as the video goes on, but the first topic I want to cover is gambling because that takes up the first 8 minutes of Rosanna's video. In this section, Rosanna spends a lot of time talking about how she thinks MrBeast has a gambling addiction. She shows instances from Reddit and podcasts to prove her point, and she even mentions that MrBeast was gambling illegally because he was under 21 at the time. Now, I want to comment on the illegal gambling, but first I need to mention why I think Rosanna included all of this information in her video, and I think it's to strengthen her point where she believes that MrBeast is teaching or promoting gambling to little kids with his lottery ticket videos. She even questions if they are secretly sponsored videos because of how he words his explanation.
why is he teaching children how to gamble? And two, the way he's worded it makes it sound like it's a sponsorship question mark. I'm someone who's done a lot of sponsorships and integrations over the years, and I partner with brands that I genuinely love. My little spidey senses are going off here. It feels a little weird.
I want to give Rosanna the benefit of the doubt here and say that her heart is in the right place, because there is an issue with promoting gambling to kids in the industry. But it's more on the streamer side of the industry. That's where you'll find some of the biggest creators taking million-dollar sponsorships to gamble online. This issue became so big that Twitch banned most types of gambling from the platform, and Stake, a gambling website, decided to make a Twitch ripoff so they could continue paying creators to gamble. The reason why this is such a big issue is because a lot of kids would watch their favorite creators win these massive prizes on these gambling sites. And unfortunately, a lot of those sites do not have age verification, so kids could literally gamble if they wanted to. So I 100% believe that is an issue, but that's not what MrBeast is doing. I can't speak on Rosanna's upbringing because I don't know her, but I can speak from experience that if you grew up poor or in the middle class, you found out about scratch-off tickets way before you even knew what the internet was. But going back to MrBeast, the clip that she showed of him is from a video titled, "I spent $1 million on lottery tickets and won." That clip is just showing the context of how they are going through $1 million worth of lottery tickets. If you don't show the context, a lot of people might be questioning why you're not scratching off the big part of the ticket and why they're using phones. Also, unlike the Twitch gambling drama, kids don't have easy access to scratch-off tickets. If they do, that is a massive failure and illegal practice by whatever establishment is selling those tickets to kids. On top of that, MrBeast is very different from gambling streamers because throughout the video, he constantly shows that he's losing money. If I'm not mistaken, I think every lottery ticket video that MrBeast has done, he has lost money. So that is showing kids that he's losing more than he's winning. So unless Rosanna has evidence that can prove that MrBeast was sponsored by gambling, this is completely useless information. But I do want to talk about the illegal gambling by MrBeast. From what Rosanna showed, it does seem like MrBeast broke some laws, and that will be up to the state of North Carolina and Utah to do something about it. In terms of if people will care, I highly doubt anyone will, because let's be honest, everyone either did something illegal by the age of 18 or knew someone that did something illegal by the age of 18. I guarantee you that Rosanna knows someone that drank or smoked before the age of 18. Should we expect her to turn them in next? No, because no one cares. And this information has nothing to do with these serious allegations against MrBeast. Another thing that Rosanna does in this section of the video is she shows a clip where MrBeast is allegedly gambling on an illegal website and claims that Mark Rober is trying to move out of frame so he's not associated with what's happening in the video. Now, that is a possibility, but I would like to point out that just because you are at a gathering, it does not mean that you condone everything that happens at that gathering. I do not drink, smoke, or do drugs, but I've been to plenty of parties where that's happened. So again, I don't know why Rosanna would include this in the video because it doesn't really serve a purpose. And Rosanna, if you're watching, I don't know if you want to play the game. Oh, what are you doing with that person? Because you don't have the best track record when it comes to hanging out with sus people. But I'll tell you this, Rosanna, I wouldn't judge you for the people that you hung out with because I know the people closest to you can live double lives. But I think it's wrong for you to pin stuff on people just because you think they were involved in something. Moving on to the second part of the video, Rosanna starts talking about MrBeast being involved in crypto. And while she does admit that she doesn't understand the crypto space, she tries to say that MrBeast was involved in market manipulation and pump and dump schemes. And if I'm being honest, Rosanna jumps off the assumption cliff really hard here. She shows this clip where MrBeast is talking to Logan Paul about how in the past, they were all on a phone call with a bunch of successful people and Gary Vee told everyone that they should buy CryptoPunks because it's going to be huge. Rosanna believes that this is market manipulation because she assumes that everybody on the call bought CryptoPunks so that they could raise the price. When in reality, we only know that MrBeast, Logan Paul, and some random guy bought CryptoPunks. I also did a quick Google search, and the only time I saw MrBeast even mention CryptoPunks was when he said that he bought one. So I don't see where this market manipulation is happening. And since Rosanna says that she doesn't mess with crypto, she probably doesn't remember how huge NFTs were. I mean, at one point they were so mainstream that they were on Jimmy Fallon. Granted, I think a lot of people laugh about NFTs today, but you can't argue that it wasn't huge even if it was just a flash in the pan. And if I'm being honest, I don't think MrBeast really played a hand in the success of CryptoPunks. Okay, let me jump in here real quick and clarify, because I feel like a crypto bro is typing up a paragraph in my comment section. From what Rosanna showed in her video, and from what I remember at the height of the NFT craze, I just feel like MrBeast didn't have an effect on CryptoPunks. But if there is some behind the scenes evidence with wallets or whatever, I'm totally okay with conceding and being wrong. But I feel like if there was a pump and dump or real scam going on, why the hell hasn't CoffeeZilla made a video about it? Because that guy calls out everybody. I still stand by my statement that MrBeast wasn't promoting CryptoPunks though. But I don't want to sit here and talk about market manipulation like I know what the hell I'm talking about. There is a pretty great video that dives into market manipulation by The Plain Bagel and Legal Eagle. So I would highly suggest you go watch that video instead of me trying to make sense of it for you. Rosanna then goes on to play this clip where Logan Paul says he has a special NFT project, and she gives us a little skit.
Bro, drop everything you're doing. I just got a new idea. It's gonna be huge. It's called Crypto Zoo. It's gonna be a zoo, and there's cryptos, and it's gonna be... No, it's not a pump and dump. Why does everybody keep saying that?
Rosanna, I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of hate you right now because you are going to make me defend Logan Paul, and that is the last thing I want to do in this world, but I care more about correct information than I do disliking someone. The podcast that Rosanna is showing clips from came out September 7th, 2021. Crypto Zoo launched July of 2021. Logan Paul first mentioned Crypto Zoo on August 17th, 2021. So he wasn't talking about Crypto Zoo. If you actually pay attention to what he says that he got this special idea the other day, which can't be Crypto Zoo because it had already launched. But you know what came out 7 months after that podcast? Logan Paul's 99 Originals project, which was based in crypto and also allowed people to buy a one-of-one physical Polaroid from the project, if I'm not mistaken. So on that podcast, Logan Paul was most likely talking about the 99 Originals project, and Rosanna is making people think it was Crypto Zoo.
It's called Crypto Zoo.
Look, I don't want to be mean to Rosanna, but she feels extremely out of her depth here. And what annoys me the most is this woman is a millionaire. She could easily hire somebody to fact check and do all the research for these claims that she's making. Rosanna is not some little YouTuber that is making videos in between her 9-to-5 shifts. She has way more resources than the average creator. She should think about using them. Also, it's not a good look when you talk about having a degree in journalism and you are failing to do basic research on some of the things that you are saying. Now, the one thing I will say about this crypto topic is that it could lead to something, because from my understanding, there's a lot of crypto detectives that are trying to find stuff on Twitter because Rosanna claims that someone close to MrBeast said that they were doing some shady stuff in the space. But if I'm being honest, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to care about the crypto stuff because the crypto space is the Wild West and it's turned average Joes into millionaires, and that's all because the government isn't doing anything to regulate it and they don't give a shit. On top of that, unless you find out MrBeast was doing something as scummy as Logan was with Crypto Zoo, I just don't see this going anywhere because he wasn't actively promoting a product the way Logan did. I know Rosanna showed a tweet where MrBeast says he's buying V-Bucks or whatever, but if you pay attention to the tweet, you'll notice that it's a reply and not a tweet that goes out to all of his followers. So can you really claim that he was promoting a product or just tweeting at his friend? It's stuff like that that distracts from the major issues surrounding MrBeast. Now, before we move on to the final part of her video, where I think Dogpack and Rosanna show the most legitimate and important pieces of information, I need to say something about the way these two interpret things that MrBeast say, because sometimes I feel like they take it way too literally. When it comes to Dogpack, he's on record with saying that he finds it extremely annoying how far MrBeast will go to prove that he hasn't faked videos.
Who gives a shit that the island didn't cost $1. It's just insane that they go to such extremes to never admit that they've ever faked anything.
As I mentioned in my original video, I think Dogpack showed a lot of information that showed that MrBeast faked his videos. But I also thought showing the CGI was pretty stupid to include in the faking content argument. Because if we wanted to be technical out here, you could argue that editing would be a form of faking videos because you're cutting out all the time and the errors that it takes to set up those events. But I myself also find a lot of things that MrBeast says pretty annoying. Here is one of my favorite ones.
I could start a new channel tomorrow with not using my face or my voice, like without ever promoting it, and in 6 months have 20 million subscribers.
The reason I hate that clip so much is because he doesn't mention if he could use his money, because if he has his money, that changes everything. Stupid MrBeast. Anyways, I do think Dogpack goes a little over the line when it comes to things MrBeast says, but Rosanna, she jumps over that line. One small instance is when she shows this clip from a MrBeast video and implies that he didn't use the funds from the merch drop to do what he said. And she wants to know where the money went.
Literally every dollar we make off this merch goes right back into the videos. I want to open a homeless shelter, plant a lot of trees, just do a lot of good things, but it's very expensive. Basically, I can't make an impact without your help. We need you to buy merch. Yeah!
Couple things. This video was 5 years ago, and I don't know about you, but I have not heard about a homeless shelter opening up. And he did plant some trees, but he did it through fundraising through #TeamTrees. So that was generated a ton of income to do that. So where did the money from the merch sales go?
First off, he says that every dollar they make from the merch is going back into the videos. He never specifically says that it's going to a homeless shelter or to plant trees. He just says that he wants to do those things. Now, you could argue that that is a bit misleading, but like Rosanna mentioned before, he did end up planting those trees through a fundraiser. And although there might not be a homeless shelter, if you want to believe the Beast philanthropy stuff, foreshadowing, they have built plenty of things that give people shelter. On top of that, Rosanna also points out that MrBeast says that he's poor because he pours all of his money back into his videos, but that she doesn't know anybody that has millions of dollars to gamble and is poor. She also calls out that MrBeast makes $700 million in revenue and only donates $100,000 each month to Beast Philanthropy. As I mentioned before, the whole I put all my money back into my videos is something that MrBeast has said for a long time. But I agree with you, Rosanna. I do think it is something he needs to stop saying because it's stupid, but we have to remember, this is the same guy that thinks it's funny to eat lunchleys in a theater while watching the Tuah podcast and listening to KSI. So he probably thinks it's funny to say he's poor. But for the sake of correct information, and Rosanna of all people should know this, revenue does not equal profits. So she's showing this huge $700 million number and comparing it to the $100,000 monthly donation, which I think a lot of people can find misleading. And this brings me into my next point, because I would be lying if I didn't say that I think the reason that Dogpack and Rosanna are going so hard in the paint with all of this stuff is because they're a little bit bitter. Dogpack for being fired and Rosanna for being screwed over by MrBeast. And I want to make it very clear, their emotions are totally valid if they are upset with MrBeast. The issue is though, if you check their Twitter or some of the interviews they've been in, they don't really come off as impartial when reporting the news. So I think it leads to clouded judgment. Now I can finally talk about the one thing that Rosanna and Dogpack showed in this video that I think is legitimately good information against MrBeast, and it came from this section.
Digitally removed the entire hospital. But yeah, they did that to make it look all broken down and decrepit, adding all these like all this trash, like this looks like a PlayStation 2 graphic.
That right there is hardcore damning evidence, and it's stuff like that is what should be focused on instead of all this other bullshit that doesn't further the major talking points. And I have to say, Dogpack, why the hell did you wait to use this information in a cringy Rosanna Pansino video where you drank tea. This right here should have been a video in the series. Now, I'm pretty sure Dogpack had a vision for the series before he dropped that first video.
I have concepts of a plan.
He even kind of mentions it in the intro of his first video, but I think he kind of went off the rails the moment he got that interview opportunity that we saw in part 2 of the series, which, by the way, I think is the strongest and most honest video that Dogpack has put out. I totally get why he pivoted, because he wanted the most eyes on that information. Unfortunately, I don't think he considered that people would stop caring if, you know, they felt that he was untruthful or withholding information, which is what some people felt after watching part 3. If for some reason you don't believe me in people losing interest, just go look at the views. I mean, even the Rosanna collab just crossed 1 million views while I was recording this video. But in the sake of fairness, this is pretty good for Rosanna compared to her other content. Going back to Dogpack, he clearly has a shitload of information about Beast philanthropy because he went off about it on Twitter after he dropped the original video. I think had Dogpack planned this out more, he could have dropped the original video, then dropped the Beast philanthropy deception video, and then ended the series with all the allegations against Ava Chris Tyson, the people he called out in part 3, and any other information he would have gathered. I think had you released that series, that would have built up such a strong case against MrBeast that ultimately he would have been forced to respond. But right now, Dogpack is dropping information like he's an anime series that's licensed out to a whole bunch of different streaming services. You can find season 1 on his channel, but season 2 is only on Twitter, and the first half of season 3 is on Rosanna's channel, but the second half of season 3 is mixed between a whole bunch of interviews with other YouTubers. I think if Dogpack really wanted the most eyes on this information, his channel would be the hub for all things drama surrounding MrBeast. But he chooses to post mostly on Twitter, where he's close to 5,000 followers, but his YouTube has nearly 700,000 subscribers. He could be posting everything on the YouTube community tab, but he just seems to be ignoring that. So I'm really confused by Dogpack's motives here, because he actively seems to be making a lot of choices that are hurting him from getting the most eyes on this information. Editor Juice here. So while editing this section of the video, I came across something that I feel like I need to point out, because my main purpose for this video is to provide accurate information for those people that may not be well informed. If you were to only listen to what Dogpack says in this video, you would more than likely be walking away believing that MrBeast faked building a hospital. And let's be real, that's a pretty sexy headline. But sadly, like many stories on the internet, people only care about the headlines and they won't do their own research. Because if you were to actually watch that Beast philanthropy video, at no point does MrBeast say that they are building a hospital. What he actually says is that they are supplying the hospital with power and supplies.
By installing a solar array and batteries to power the new hospital, as well as provide all the equipment to outfit a safe and modern birthing center to serve this vulnerable community.
MrBeast does use the terms new hospital, but he probably said that because that's how the hospital is going to feel after the project's done. The same goes for those 2 articles that Dogpack showcases. Nowhere in those articles does it claim that MrBeast built the hospital. That first article does say that they revitalized the hospital, and I think that's a fair description, because according to the article, that hospital was abandoned until MrBeast and his partners showed up to provide it with power and supplies. Now, I do want to make it clear that Dogpack's point about MrBeast using CGI to make a situation look worse than it actually is 100% valid. There is no arguing against that, and personally, I think it's just stupid that MrBeast actually did that, because there was no reason to. And this is also another reason why I think Dogpack's second or third video, should have been the second video, should have been about Beast philanthropy, because if you showed a lot more stuff like this, I think everybody would be talking about it. Dogpack also makes the point that those CGI photos were used in articles, so that's further adding to this idea that MrBeast built that hospital. And with that, I'll just say that is a fundamental issue that we currently have in journalism today, because nobody's trying to verify or authenticate what they put in their articles. And that's only going to get worse the better that AI gets. But I have one big issue with how Dogpack is talking about this situation, because he's basically doing what MrBeast is doing with the CGI photos. Because if you search MrBeast fake hospital, you are more than likely going to see posts that were made after this video dropped, and whether it's a Reddit post, TikTok, or YouTube video, you are only going to see people talk about how MrBeast fake building a hospital without any of the context from that video. Now, Dogpack did mention that that video was about solar panels, but he spends so little time on it. I'm talking about it's super quick that nobody's gonna pay attention to that, because he also dives into more deception right after it.
What they actually did in the video was just install solar panels. They didn't build the hospital, but he made it seem like they did.
I think if people actually watched that Beast Philanthropy video, they would be smart enough to realize that MrBeast didn't build a hospital. But if you only listen to Dogpack, you're more than likely gonna walk away believing that he faked it. Now, I know people are gonna be watching this video and they're gonna think that I'm a hater and, why are you pointing out the small stuff, man? That stuff doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It totally matters, because every time that you say something wrong or lie, it only makes MrBeast look better by showing that you are not a credible source of information. And if you for a minute don't think that MrBeast and his team are going to use that for their defense, you are insane. I need you to really listen to me on this part. We are talking about a guy who has no personality and has devoted his whole life to finding every little detail about content that makes the numbers on YouTube go up. Let us not forget that we currently live in an era on the internet where creators can openly admit to talking inappropriately with minors and still have a massive audience, because all they need to do is say that people lied and deny. And when it comes to MrBeast, what can you take away from the guy that sponsors his own videos? The only thing that I can think of is the perception that people have of him, which I'm totally on board with taking away, because I'm tired of how people put this guy on a pedestal and treat him like he's the god of content creation. But if you keep releasing information that is weak, irrelevant to the bigger picture, or just a flat out lie, you're gonna start making people question if MrBeast is really a bad guy or if he just has a bunch of haters. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I hope MrBeast responds, but the pessimist in me says that he's not going to. If he does, he's gonna probably spend a lot of time on the stuff that he can debunk, because that makes him look better, and he might say something along the lines of like, we're hiring new people to clean up the culture at Beast Inc. Or he might just do the thing that I could actually see happening, and that is denying all these serious allegations, or denying knowing all these serious allegations, and say that, you know, that was all taken care of in-house while he was out filming one of his bajillions of videos. It's a complete bullshit answer, but I guarantee you that a majority of his audience would believe it, and in the end, that's all he needs. I feel like she's extremely out of her depth here, and what annoys me the most, oh my god, my voice.